All right, NFL fans, the NFL aficionado fiend here, going over my Week 4 prediction recap. Didn't do so well this week. Basically, on straight up winners, I went 10-6 again, and against the spread, I went 5-11. So hopefully, you guys are following the straight up winners and not picking me on the spreads because I'm doing terrible against the spread this year. Brings my overall record to 40-24 in straight up winners, and then 25-36 in against the spread. So not doing too good against the spread, but again, straight up winners, I'm doing above average. So basically, on my upset picks, I got the Falcons correct. Missed out on the Colts. But that game should have been the Colts' way. They just lost it away. The Jags coming up with a victory against the Niners, and then the Jets, they wet the bed against the Miami Dolphins, even with Tyreek Hill going out with that terrible injury that he had. Missed the covers. The Texans absolutely blew out the Tennessee Titans. The Lions absolutely blew out the Cleveland Browns, and then the Pats smoked Carolina. So I got all three of those guys wrong, plus all the L's that I picked up. So, all right, people, let's get into it. So, first off, we had the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Was a close game for what it was. Unfortunately, we learned that Trey Benson's now going to be out on IR, so that's terrible news. Marvin Harrison came alive in the second half after a terrible first half. And but the Seahawks did win, and they did cover score of 23-20 on the last second field goal to walk off and win. So good job to the Seahawks. Got both of them. Got the win. Got the cover. The next game what I called Vikings playing in Ireland against the Steelers. The Steelers were the home team. I picked the Vikings to win and cover. And man, the Steelers came out and put it on them. Carson Wentz has turned back into a pumpkin. And until that offensive line gets healed up in Minnesota, I don't see them winning a whole lot of games. I don't care who the quarterback is. If your quarterback doesn't have time to throw the ball, you're not going to win. Even the great Patrick Mahomes, the 2 Super Bowls he lost, had no time to win. The greatest season we ever saw at 18-0, basically Brady, no time to throw the ball. So Minnesota's really got some issues out there in their land with that offensive line. So, all right, so missed that outright. That was just a straight up L on my part. Steelers won outright. Next game I had, the Commanders going to visit the Falcons. I said the Falcons would win and they would cover the spread because they were the underdog. And guess what? Hit them both, baby. Falcons whipped up on the Commanders, so they're now 2-2 on the season. So that was nice to see. The Saints then visited the Bills. As y'all know, Bills Mafia, proud member of that. So Bills, I said would win, and then I got cocky and said we will win the spread. Even though we won by 12, it wasn't enough to cover the spread at 15.5. So basically, hey, got the win for the Bills, but basically they did not cover. And the Bills played a terrible game, and the Saints looked like that was their Super Bowl for the year. So, hey, it is what it is. Moving on, the Browns, they were getting 9.5 at the Lions. I said the Lions would win, but I had more faith in that Browns defense kind of containing the Lions offense, and boy, was I wrong on that. 34-10 was the final score there. So Lions win, and they cover the spread, so got that one wrong. Next, we moved on to the New England Patriots. Basically, they had the Panthers come visit them, and basically, I said the Pats would win because the Panthers were getting 5.5. I said they ain't gonna cover the spread, and lo and behold, they put it on the Panthers, baby. I mean, 42-13. Drake May looking like an all-star, and in fact, funny steal is I picked up the New England Patriots defense, and they ran a punt back for a touchdown, so that helped really get it rocking and rolling. So again. Panthers visiting the Pats, said, hey, the Pats win, but I didn't think they'd cover the spread. They sure did. So take an L on that one there. So next one, I'm really kicking myself in the booty for this because basically I told everybody I knew. In fact, I had Justin Herbert on my fantasy team, both fantasy teams I have, and I said, man, West Coast team going to the East Coast, 1 o'clock kickoff. And they just came off that huge win against the Broncos. They're not used to being 3-0. Their heads might be a little big for this game. You got the Jackson Dart bump that you're getting over there with the Giants. And the Giants were getting 6.5, man. But I stayed true. I said, you know what? hey, the Chargers are for real this year, and guess what? They goose egged it on me, man. So Herbert turned back into a pumpkin for that game, and the Chargers were exposed against a terrible Giants team. I'm just kidding; they weren't exposed. West Coast teams coming to the East Coast with a 1 o'clock kickoff time never do well, ever, ever, ever. Always bet against them and always go against the points, man. So, anyways, yes, but I picked the Chargers to have faith, and I picked the Chargers to win and cover the spread, and they gave me the big old L that I got at the Shay Shay restaurant. So that was just a terrible one for me. Next, we had the Eagles going to play the Bucks. Bucks had a ton of injuries, picked up even more injuries with the game. The Bucks made it close, but ultimately the Eagles proved they were the better team. And not only that, they covered the 3.5-point spread that the Bucks were getting. So got a double victory on that one. So called the win, and the Eagles covered the spread. Next, had Tennessee come and play the Texans. I knew the Texans had a great defense, so I didn't expect a whole lot of scoring on the Tennessee side. But the Texans have a terrible offense, so I didn't expect to see a whole lot of scoring on the Texans side either. So I didn't think they would cover the 7.5-point spread that they were getting. And lo and behold, that Texans defense rose up and shut out Cam Ward so bad that he stood up at the press conference after the game and said, "We asked." I ain't never heard that live, a starting quarterback say that about the rest of his team or speaking about himself. But hey, the man is honest. But yes, 26-0. So Texans won, got that right. But I told you they ain't going to cover the spread, so I take the L there. Next game I go to, we had the Colts visiting the Rams. Adonis Mitchell, hold on to the ball before you cross the goal line. I truly believe that basically the Colts would have won that game, but that was a momentum play. I watched it live happen. As I seen it, I said, man, it looked like he fumbled the ball out the end zone. And sure enough, when they showed it on replay, he was trying to transfer whatever he was doing. Boop, ball goes right out of the back of the end zone. And that really sucks after a 73 amazing yard run that he had. But I picked the Colts to upset the Rams, and I got that wrong. The Rams took care of business. They won 27-20. So take the L on that one, my good sir. So next we had the Jaguars going to play the 49ers. This is one of my upset picks, and the Jaguars showed they were for real. I'm hoping that Trayvon Walker doesn't have a serious injury, doesn't need to go on IR. But Travis Etienne, that defense is balling. So the Jaguars, I think, are a sneak pick in the AFC. Weren't a whole lot of people picking them, but I like them as they're coming together. That coach, Liam Cohen, he might be onto something. He did amazing things last year in Tampa as the offensive coordinator. I'm really looking forward to. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of him in Jacksonville right now. So Jacksonville got the upset victory against the 49ers. And did it, 26-21. So it wasn't like, they put the whooping on them. I think the defense caused 4 turnovers. So they've got a serious defense out there, but I do believe that's just the injuries of San Francisco. Next game, big game here, the Ravens at the Chiefs. So for me, I thought this was a get-back game for the Ravens. I thought they were going to get right. And lo and behold, the Kansas City Chiefs made the Ravens make them a sandwich, ate their chips, made them get a soda pop, and just beat him so bad all over the field that it just looked like Lamar quit on the game. And then Derrick Henry, I don't know what the Ravens are doing, but you got a running back who's 31 years old. You just paid him all this money, and you give him the ball 8 times. What are you thinking, dude? And your defense is completely banged up. Protect the defense, protect the clock. So I don't know what they're doing out there in Ravens, but it's safe to say on my bet, especially with Lamar Jackson now being out for 2 weeks and all the injuries on the defensive side of the ball, that the Ravens have now slipped out of the S-Bob conversation for me. And now it's the Bills. The Chiefs never went away. I always believe those guys. They're playing for January just like the Bills are. The Eagles and the Lions are my top 4 teams right now for S-Bob, for who's going to hold that ring at the end of the year. It's going to come out of one of those 4 guys. Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, and Detroit. I truly believe that. So, anyways, the Ravens got stomped in Kansas City, 37-20. It was a beatdown all over the field, man. Lamar Jackson hurt his hamstring, I think, but he was getting pulled anyway, so it was just a terrible game. So took a big old L on that one. My Ravens fan Chris man, I'm sorry, bro, but I just don't, man. I'm beginning to worry the Ravens are not going to make the playoffs this year because I think they're going to lose their next 2 games and be down 1-5 before the deal starts. And then don't let the Steelers smell blood in the water because they're going to come up and whip up on you. So I say they'll split this series with the Steelers. So now they're 6 losses. The rest of their schedule is pretty weak, but it's a different ball game when you ain't got Lamar Jackson. That's like saying the Bills ain't got Josh Allen. Lamar, no Ravens, no Lamar, no Josh. No. That's the same as Josh. Anybody, when you're one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. All right, moving on to the next one. We got the Bears at the Raiders. The Bears played like complete ass and still won the game, but they did not cover the spread, even though it was only 1.5 points. Caleb Williams, man, all the growth he did against Dallas. Guess what? Max Crosby said, "Ain't happening on my watch, bro." Max Crosby, for a player like Max Crosby, he absolutely kept the Raiders in that game, and he was dominating. I mean, that dude is awesome on that team. The Raiders ain't got nobody else, but Max Crosby is definitely getting his extension worth this year. So, anyways, Bears win, but did not cover the spread. Moving on, I mean, this is the one that shocks me the most. I talked about this. I predicted a 50-burger, Micah Parsons, sacks, turnovers, everything. And lo and behold, old Dak Prescott for Daddy Jerry plays the absolute game of his life. And Jordan Love does the turnover that just completely energized Dallas by letting them go into halftime, I believe, with the lead, or whenever Pickens scored. But that game was on its way to a runaway, and then when Jordan Love turned that ball over and Dak hit Pickens, and they got the touchdown. Oh my goodness, man! But yeah, I actually fell asleep with that game and woke up and heard 40-40 tie. I can't believe this. But hey, Dallas, congratulations, man! I thought you were gonna get the break speed off you in that game, and you didn't. You showed up. I still think you're going to be 4-12 by the end of the year, or so 4-12-1. I'm sorry, the Packers. They just choked it up, man. And the Packers, for all the goodwill they had after the first 2 weeks of the season, they have really mucked it up with the loss in Cleveland and then tying Dallas after the way that game started. So I'm starting to believe that they were a pretender, not a contender for the Super Bowl. All right, so took the big old L on that one. I think that's the most surprising one to me, that the Packers didn't beat the Cowboys, so that cost me big time there. Next one, I had the Jets playing the Dolphins. Or the Jets going to the Dolphins. I had the Jets winning as the underdog. Dolphins came out, took care of business, won for old Mike McDaniel, kept him around, but they suffered a tragic loss with Tyreek Hill. And guys, I hate when injuries happen, especially to guys as talented as this. I don't care for what Tyreek does off the field, and as a Bills fan, he absolutely murdered us. But at the same time, that dude was responsible for helping build what they were doing in Kansas City. And he was elite with that football in his hands for about 3 or 4 years. You did not want to see Tyreek in the open field with that ball in his hands. Dislocated knee, ACL, PCL, MCL. I mean, literally his knee is destroyed. Be honest, he's 31 years old. His agent came out and said he's going to play next year in 2026. I highly doubt it. Even if it does, it's been proven that it takes about 2 years before you fully recover from an ACL or something like that, being he's so devastated, his leg was so devastated. Now, there are freaks of nature that come out quicker, but the age, the how bad the injury was, I'm worried it's going to be 2027 before we see Tyreek, and we probably will never see the Tyreek ever again that we saw. He might have a couple breakout games, but hearts go out to the Cheetah Man. Really sucks that it happened, dude. Again, anybody loves football. Love watching that man play wide receiver, the things he did. And, it was magical with him and Mahomes. So hope the Cheetah gets well. Hope he comes back and does prove us all wrong. But it looks like we might have seen the end of Tyreek Hill this past weekend. Sorry, I got tripped over my words. So, anyways, last but not least, we have the Bengals going to play the Broncos in Denver. Broncos, I don't know what y'all did, man. Y'all started out like a bang, and then the second half happened, and y'all got one measly touchdown. So, but the point spread was only 7.5, and so the Broncos, I called the win. Plus, they covered the spread. So that's the recap in a nutshell. In fact, it's so bad in Cincinnati right now. I don't know if anybody saw this, but there's a play I saw on YouTube coming on the way home today where the Denver Broncos only rushed 3 guys, and they literally had both guards, center, and the chipping back block the nose tackle, and the 2 ends beat both tackles and met at the quarterback. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in my life. And so Joe Burrow, stay off this year, and you go demand to the ownership of Cincinnati that they need to find you an offensive line, because you ain't gonna survive a season if that's the kind of protection you're getting. 3 guys beat 5 guys, and I mean it was clean. So go look that play up, see it. I was shocked by it. So anyways, all right. Yeah, sorry I didn't bring this video out yesterday, guys, but I was a little under the weather and just didn't have the energy to kind of go over the video and kind of do it justice. So, all right. So that's it. Like I said, straight up picks, 10-6 against the spread. I was 5-11. So as good as I'm doing on picking the straight up winners, I'm doing ass on the cover of the spread. Overall for the year, I'm 40-24. And on straight up picks, and then against the spread, I'm 25-36. So that's the first quarter of the season. So let's see what happens for the rest of it. Hopefully we'll get better at picking up the spreads, but hopefully you guys made some money this weekend. Hopefully you picked a few teams to win. Anybody that bet on the Cowboys, man, you made some money. Anybody that bet on the Chiefs, good job on that one. And if you bet on the Saints to cover against the Bills, man, you did a good job on that one. So all right. My NFL fans, the aficionado fiend is out, and we will probably do a preview video on Thursday of Week 5 predictions. Stay tuned. Let me know what you think. And again, did you win? Did you lose? Did you put some jangle in your pocket? Or did you end up giving up this month's rent to cover your losses? Stay safe out there. Be good. And till the next time.